Let's do a little bit of harvesting and take a look around and see what things look like. Harvesting a few radishes. Actually, had to harvest out the last of these French breakfasts. They're all getting to the size they need to be out of there. I need to take and cut this cilantro and get it some of it put in the freezer, maybe take some to the farmer's market. We're also harvesting some spinach. We had planned to take it to the farmer's market, but we've got little holes and such. It's just not the quality that I would want to take, so we'll go ahead and cook this down and vacuum pack it and put it in the freezer, and we'll have some of this. But I guess I'm going to need to start a new batch, and hopefully it'll do better as it cools down here. Yesterday I finally got my transplants in for, I've got two different varieties of romaine lettuce. I'll see which one does the best. I went ahead and put them in the greenhouse because the extra heat as it's cooling down will be good. And I put my radicchio in here too, so hopefully the extra warmth will make these grow faster, and I'll be able to, I'm probably not going to grow heads. I'll probably just pick leaves as it grows. I don't know that I'm going to let them head up, but it'd be just to pick the outer leaves and let it grow. That worked pretty good on my spring crop. I've also got my leek are doing good. Once they get a little bit bigger, I'll go ahead and put these out. I've got a couple of varieties here, so we'll see which one performs the best. Today I need to take and I'm going to pot up these Korobi. I like to grow them in these cells here. This is an early variety, so we'll see how fast it forms its bulbs. And I have some more lettuce that I'm going to need to pot up. This is two different varieties. They're mixed varieties, but one is actually a greenhouse variety, and then the other one is just a general mix. And I'm going to see how well the greenhouse variety grows in the greenhouse. I've got some purple cabbage here. It's getting close to time to plant. I've been letting them get a little big. I've still got to deal with my rabbit problem. I've got some more bright lights chard, and over here I've got a little bit of cauliflower left, and I'm probably going to save it. I'll need to replace a few plants. Over here some more red cabbage, and I have one Bibb lettuce that come out of a bunch of seeds. It must have been old seed, but it's managing to grow. Over here we have some Brussels sprouts, red Brussels sprouts, and they're starting to get up close to time to get put out. This here is some more Black Magic kale and some Catskill Brussels sprouts, and then we have some multi-sown beets. Well, some multi-sown, some aren't. We'll be putting those out soon. Those were red ones. These here are golden beets, and some more golden beets, but we're letting them get a little bit of size, a little bit more size. We've had some problems where we've grown our ones. They just haven't done that well. And I've got this here, some more leek that's in here. This will probably be, I'll separate this out pretty soon. This has been cut back once. And over here I have some chives. I'm going to go ahead and put these out. So I've still got quite a bit that needs to be put out, and I need to get started on some more seed for the next batch. It's kind of hard to keep up because I have so many areas over here. I have my onions there. My next batch that's going to go in behind these are almost ready, and then this row right here, I think I'm going to do some different varieties of radishes and then some more greens, so I'll have some fresh greens. I still do have a pretty good bit of greens down here, some kale, some turnips. We're just thinning these, so we've got about one more row to thin out, and a little bit in the center. The mustard is doing real well, and the red leaf mustard is doing well, but we're not harvesting just leaves. We're harvesting the complete plant. That way we can just come in and start a new batch behind them. Our transplants that we put out, some cabbage. We've got some early Jersey, so hopefully these will do good. I need to get out here and fertilize. I'm going to use some chicken litter on these, and we've got a little broccoli and some cauliflower here, and the transplants are looking good. There's a few that are a little puny, but most of them's good. We might have to come through and replant a few of them over in this area. There's a couple that aren't looking too good. This row with our North Georgia candy roasters, they're pretty much dying back, so what we'll do is harvest these. Our tomatoes, they're slowly ripening up. We're getting a few. The plants are kind of looking a little rough, but the tomatoes aren't looking too bad for the most part. We've just started watering these. We hadn't been, but they've been looking a little bit droopy, and we've topped most of these, so hopefully they'll go ahead and ripen up. But what I wanted to show you down here, if you're thinking about growing these North Georgia candy roasters, now they didn't tear the fence up here. That was the tractor. But they do climb, and they do hang on when they're on a trellis. So if you're planning to grow them and you have a limited area, you can see that it's possible you could just trellis these and grow them that way. But you would have to train them and keep them from taking over, because some of these vines, which out there, this vine is run through, and it's probably about 20 foot. So overall, it's probably close to 35 foot from where it started. So you need to consider that it might take a little bit, because these are kind of like pumpkin plants. They're really healthy and robust, so they tend to take and put on a lot of vine and a lot of leaves. The rutabagas, or the plants, are looking pretty good. Do have a little insect damage to them, most of which is grasshoppers, but these haven't been fertilized yet, so that's kind of my plan today, is get fertilizer on a lot of these plants. And then we have a red Russian or ragged Jack kale. Now some of these little plants, these few that's right here, they're starting to come back, but either a rabbit or grasshoppers that nip the tops off. It's the same with these that were right in here. Now I have the ones that were planted from seed, and They actually, some of them are doing as well as the other that were transplants. The transplants that didn't have leaves damaged, they're a little bit bigger than these down here, but it looks like to me it might be just best to go ahead and direct seed these instead of trying to transplant, just hopefully that I can keep pests from chewing on the leaves. The speckled butter beans or speckled lima beans are doing good. In fact, they're still blooming and they're still putting on pods. Now they are slow growing, so some of those might not make it, but there are a lot down in here. They're just really hard to see because they get covered up with the leaves. I had put 2 rows about 16 inches apart, 18 inches apart, and grew them up both sides of this trellis system here. And next year I'll narrow it down to 1. Now they are having some browning of the leaves up here, but we think this is probably where we've damaged the vines whenever we had strong winds and had to put this back up. So overall they're still doing real good. The cool weather hadn't slowed them down any. My first year for growing kohlrabi. Now I tend to have a pretty good batch of it growing here. Hopefully that ought to do good. My rainbow chard isn't doing too good, but I have a problem here with the root knot nematode, so I've got to deal with it. Now the broccoli is doing good. The plants aren't as vigorous as they were. This is the same broccoli I grew in the late spring or in the summer. It's kind of heat resistant, and the plants were a lot more vigorous because all the sunlight, but they're making good heads. I'm going to have to start harvesting some of these. As you can see, like this one isn't real tight, and if they start to bolt out, then I'm going to have to take them out. Also, my fennel. This is first year for growing fennel, and it's actually looks like it's doing pretty good. I think I might need to pick some in so I can actually get a chance to taste it and see how good it is. Now the Bright Lights chard, it's doing good. We cooked up a batch of this a few days back, and our leek is getting strong here. It's starting to get some size on it. This was the ones we planted first, but a lot of this I haven't fertilized at all. I've just left it dependent on the nutrients in the compost. But with my load of chicken litter that's it's been rested long enough, it won't burn the plants. I'm going to come in and fertilize that, get it going. Potatoes are still doing strong. I have to watch the weather close, so I'll know whether I need to put some row cover over them to protect them from frost. We've had a little bit of cool temperatures, but it wasn't cold enough, and it's looking like we've got a warm spell for a little bit, so we'll see how that does. The bell peppers are still going. In fact, as you can see, they're still putting on bloom, so they're still after it, and they ought to be doing good. The black magic kale, or dinosaur kale, is a lot to call it, and I'm not going to try to pronounce the other name, or the actual name starts with L, but These plants here were started in the late spring, and they're just now really getting to going. Now these were actually transplanted, if you followed me on my earlier videos, and they held up good to it. Most of them took off. I have a few more in some other spots where I put them just so I could get them out, but these were in another bed that I tore down, and I put them here, and they're going strong. The new ones that were planted for my fall crop, these ones over here, all these little ones around the edge, they're doing good. A few of them are just not really getting after it, and I don't know if it's an issue with moles under there or what it is, but most of them are doing real good. And I'd suggest, if you're planning to and you're in one of the warmer zones, because these do take a lot of, they're really cold tolerant. I know you can't grow them way far up north because they're not that cold tolerant, but down, I would think maybe even zone 6 they would overwinter. But what I was going to get at is these will keep growing. These will grow from now and just keep going. As long as you keep picking them, they'll keep going, and you can keep cropping them. In fact, these are doing a whole lot better in the cool fall than they actually do in the summer. And plus, in the fall, the leaves will be a whole lot sweeter. They won't be as strong or bitter that's normally associated with plants whenever they're grown in the heat. Not to say they didn't taste good when we was harvesting in the summer on these earlier plants, but they just taste better in the fall. Now we have some cabbage over here. It's doing fairly good, but like I say, it's the same thing. It's not been fertilized. I'm gonna have to get in here and do some checking for some worms. I keep saying I was gonna spray some spinosad on some of this, but mostly I've just been pinching the worms. The jalapenos, they're still going strong. They're still making a lot of peppers, so it's not like there's any sign that they're gonna let up, even though some of the days gets down into the 37, 38. That might slow them down just a bit on the growth, but it doesn't harm the plant to where it stops it from producing. We've been picking our lettuce actually weekly. We'll pick this tomorrow morning before the farmer's market and make up some bags. It is growing slow because the cool temperatures. It's doing a little bit better now that it's warmed up, but that's one reason why I planted the other in the greenhouse, is because with the cool temperatures it tends to slow down the production. And we're doing pretty good on our strawberries. We've just been letting the runners go. We've got plenty of them to do up. We're almost back where we started on the strawberry count, because we lost so many due to the heat and not having shade cloth over them. But we started with 50, and right now we're close to 50 plants back again, which it's kind of bad that we lost so many, but it is good that we'll have a lot of them to going into next year. We just keep potting them up. We leave them connected. We're going to take and move all these strawberries to a different place in the garden. This was just what was available at the time. We have a new addition that's fixing to be put out here in the garden. It's some blueberries. We have two varieties, Snow Chaser, and I think the other one maybe pronounce it Olapa. They're two early varieties, and we have one more that we'll be picking up tomorrow. I think maybe Emerald or something like that. And we'll give an update here. These are the two apple seeds that were planted in the spring. These were Fuji's. I'm thinking these were planted back the end of April or first part of May. And they've been wanting out the buckets for a while, and we'll get them set in here too. We've got to keep them in the fenced-in garden area because for any of you that have apples and have deer around, you know how much they love to eat the leaves off of apples. So they really got to be protected until they get up high enough that the deer can't eat them. So we figured we'd just find a place in the garden and put them out, maybe put some strawberries around underneath or something. I hope you found some value in this video, that you can see that there's a lot you can grow, especially if you're take into consideration the temperature that a lot of these plants will withstand. And I hope that you decide to try new things, maybe things that you haven't taken and planted before. If you like this, hit that thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe, hit that bell button so you'll be notified whenever I put out new videos. And share it. That really helps my channel. Happy gardening.